own pattern.
I'm making a dress for my daughter, and I decided to do my first mock-up ever, and it was frustrating. So I decided to clone a dress instead of doing a pattern because the pattern I had didn't work. So you just fold it in half like so, trace around the area that you're wanting to, and don't forget to do the armholes, which I forgot to do, which will show up later in the video, but it was an easy fix, so which I'll show you later. So you just cut this pattern out, and then when you're drawing a pattern, make sure you do not trace them close together like that, because that creates problems.
So what I'll do to avoid my mistake is I will just fold this and then I'll just cut it on the fold, and that way I'll still have this longer length right there. So that's one way around that.
And for not having enough length on the bottom, you just have to make a whole new pattern. Pretty simple.
For anybody wondering, yes, the crystals are an important part of this process. You also want to make sure it's super smoothed out. These help weigh it down. So if you got something like this to help you out, it's pretty great.
I'm using one pattern piece for the back and the front, and then I'm just going to cut it on the fold. Don't forget to factor in your seam allowance when you're cutting out your patterns like this. The type of paper I'm using is a medical paper. It's easily traceable. So then you're going to do the same thing on your outer. We're going to iron out your lining. It's all clipped up and ready to serge. The serger was a huge pain. I do not recommend getting a used one. Always buy a new serger. And it works just fine for these seams. I also realized that I didn't match up the waist length. Both the waists for the top and the bottom were not even, so I had to cut that off a bit shorter. The dress ended up a little bit shorter, but hey, that's okay. So that's how you fix that if you're into that problem. When sewing the top and the bottom together, make sure you put the top on the inside and have the pretty seams touching. And then you just line it up and get it ready to sew. It keeps getting like bunched up right there, and I don't understand it. It was just not working out with my serger machine. I had tried to sew the waist together 5 times. I had rethreaded it 5 times. It just was not working out, and it just kept cutting off the waist, so it was wasting it. See how it's just pulling apart right there super easily, and I'll show you here how it just falls off. I don't know what the problem was. I had just gotten in service too, so buy new. Always buy a new serger. Do not buy used. I got impatient, didn't want to deal with it anymore, so I just busted out my heavy-duty sewing machine, and it sewed up just fine like it did before. What a waste of my money, unfortunately. And it looks beautiful, except I forgot to do the armholes, so that's how you fix that. I just used a French curve ruler and then my rotary cutter to cut that out just like that. That is such a rookie mistake that I forgot to do that. Oh well, you live and you learn. And then the waist didn't match up before, remember? So I just had to shorten that up. I clipped it all together like that and then sewed it all together again. And then when putting in the lining of the dress, I don't recommend the way I did it. So maybe I'll do another video and show how to do the burrito style, which I learned about. Also, I used a small zigzag for that. And then there it is. Also, it's important to note that your liner should be 2 inches shorter than your dress, and to also iron in between each seam. Like and subscribe. Part 2 is coming soon. Thanks. Bye.